let's move to the west, and in particular the southwest. Let's go to Gloucestershire, a county which, to be honest, made some great steps forward in 2021. In fact, in the group stages, they won more games than any other county across all of the three groups. They've got a very, very interesting squad heading into this summer's championship, and that really is shown with some of their transfers. They brought in Marcus Harris, who was fantastic for Leicestershire last summer. They brought back Zafar Gahar, which I'm a big fan of. He was excellent towards the last stages of the season. Naseem Shah. We talk about different factors, and we talk about an X factor. On these county pitches, Naseem Shah with the extra pace will do exactly that. They brought in AJ Dale as well from Hampshire, who, Harrison, again, you may be able to give us a bit more insight into as a Hampshire fan, but a good young seam bowler. And then Paul van Meekeren has moved from the northeast in Durham to Gloucestershire in the southwest. Then in terms of outgoings, it's been quite quiet in that regard for Gloucestershire. Basically just George and Harry Hankins have left the club heading into this year, along with Dan Worrell, who's made the move to Surrey. So Harrison, Gloucestershire, again, we speak about how impressive they are as an outfit, but this club has not yet won the county championship. Do you think 2022 could be the year that finally changes under the guidance of Dale Benkenstein as the coach, Graeme van Buuren as the new captain? Do you think that combination can lead the glorious Gloucesters to victory in the 2022 county championship?
Well, as I said earlier, there's a lot of teams you feel could be in the running for the title, and I'd probably put Gloucestershire as one of them. They did a job on Hampshire last week, albeit it was the first warm-up game of the summer, but they looked impressive. The bowlers were very good in particular. I think Goodman and Higgins, they starred in particular against Hampshire the other week. But as you said, the overseas signings is what I think makes this team. Last season, they had a strong county call, and they were only pipped on the last day to I think it was the second last day of the game against Hampshire for qualification into Division 1 for September. So with, as you say, Naseem Shah, he is the definition of X Factor. You don't get any more than that. We've seen him against Australia most recently. Reverse swing probably won't be a thing in England for obvious reasons, but with just normal swing and the sheer pace he has, will put fright or such into most county batsmen. And if he can get it all under control and working, he could be a serious asset for Gloucestershire in the time he's here. As could Marcus Harris. He had a good season with Leicestershire last year. Got rid of a few of his doubters that thought he struggled in England a bit after the 2019 Ashes, and just excelled for Leicestershire and helped them in their road to becoming a better county and growing. So I think, as you say, it's definitely an exciting one. There's James Bracey, who played for England last year. They haven't had an England player for a while. And with Chris Dent stepping down, maybe so he can now focus back on his batting and reach levels we've seen in previous years, it's an exciting prospect, and it very well could be the dark horse and go under the radar for a bit.
It's funny you mentioned those two words, dark horse. That's exactly how I would describe Gloucestershire heading into this year's county championship. You mentioned there James Bracey. He's looked very good in the pre-season warm-ups as well. Absolutely delighted for him, because he did struggle for England. And again, the stats and the figures will show exactly that against New Zealand. But this is an excellent, excellent cricketer. James Bracey's got a great attitude, good solid technique, also good with the gloves as well. And you don't get called up to the England squad for no reason. And in fact, he was the first Gloucestershire player since John Lewis in 2007 to get that call up. So James Bracey, watch out for him. I do think he's going to come back strong. And he did have a good summer last year. 715 runs at 37.63. Yes, the average could have been better, but he was Gloucestershire's leading run scorer. So Bracey, absolutely. I think he'll be back strong in 2022. And Harrison, in terms of the side itself, if we were to assess them from a strengths and weaknesses perspective, where do you think are the real key areas of strength in this Gloucestershire outfit? And what are the perceived vulnerabilities and weak points of this side heading into this year's championship?
An obvious strength is the seam bowling department. As I mentioned before, you've got Ryan Higgins and obviously Naseem Shah, along with David Payne, who also really got into an England squad last summer in the white ball but didn't feature. But he's made big strides in red ball and white ball cricket itself over the last few years and become a real asset to the side. That's the strength that really stands out for me. If we're going to look at a weakness as such, I don't know really. To be honest, maybe the batting is a bit of an unknown, few unknowns, few inexperienced players at the highest level of the domestic game. They look not picking anyone as such, but Tom Lace looked a bit out of position as such last summer against some of the better attacks and struggled a bit, but has shown form. I think he got 94, unbeaten 94 against Somerset the other day. So hopefully that's a start, something new for him and Gloucestershire. It's just such a your standard county side as such. There's so many county pros in there, players that you know on their day or can consistently turn up and give you a performance. So if that happens consistently, as I said before, you don't know what could happen, but maybe depth of seam bowling if we're being picky against the top quality bowlers, and then Zafar Gahar provides the spinner if there's room for him, obviously with Harris and Shah in the side already as overseas.
Absolutely. Well, I think with Zafar, I think he's more of the late term plan, isn't he? Heading into more August and September, late season, but he was excellent. He really was a fantastic addition to a very strong Gloucestershire side in 2021. I would agree with the strengths. Obviously, that seam attack is outstanding. Ryan Higgins, who, by the way, has been Gloucestershire's leading first-class wicket taker for 3 summers in a row. 2019, 2020 and 2021, he has been top of the standings for the club. Really underrated seamer, deserves a lot more recognition. That's why you mentioned him here on the podcast. But he's a great, great option, as is David Payne, as is Josh Short. Again, someone to watch out for in this year's competition. In terms of weaknesses, I would agree in terms of the middle order. And the reason I bring this up is because last year they tried out the likes of Ian Cobain. He came back into the side. They tried Tom Lace. They tried George Hankins, George Scott, Graeme van Buuren, Ryan Higgins, Jack Taylor. They tried all these different options and didn't quite find the right combination. So I think for Gloucestershire this summer, a real key focal point will be a stable middle order. Now, granted, in 2021, part of that was because of Graeme van Buuren's visa issues, but now that they are all resolved, he is the skipper of the side. Fingers crossed, Gloucestershire fans, that there is a bit more stability in that middle order, because if there is, with that strong top order trio, the likes of Bracey, Dent, and Marcus Harris, alongside that excellent bowling attack, they do look like a good side. I must admit that I'm looking forward to watching the Glorious Gloucesters in action in this summer's county championship. And Harrison, I'll actually choose the player to watch out for, if you don't mind, when it comes to Gloucestershire, because I've alluded to him already. I would go with Ryan Higgins. And in fact, I've got his exact stats. In 2019, he took 50 wickets at 23.64. In 2020, obviously a shortened season, but 17 wickets at 23.00. And last summer, 51 wickets at 22.41. So that average has now improved year in, year out for the past 3 seasons as well. I think he is going to be a real difference maker, and he also provides some very valuable and vital middle order runs. Would you agree with that assessment, Harrison, or is there someone else catching your eye for Gloucestershire in this year's tournament?
There's several, as we spoke before, because they're not some of the most well known in the county circuits. You could pick anyone such. Higgins is a very good call. If I had a choice, I would have gone for Van Buuren. Obviously, as you mentioned before, visa issues last year kind of shortened his season and involvement, but he made a fantastic century against Surrey in the 4th innings chase, which banged 3, I think it was. So if he can replicate that, and as well as being leading on the field with the captain and with the ball, could have a very well-rounded season. Absolutely. But Higgins is definitely a smart choice.
To be honest, with Gloucestershire and with a lot of these sides, you can't really go wrong. Like, for all of the shortcomings of the English Test side over the winter, English county cricket still got some serious players. And again, there's plenty that we can choose from heading into this year's tournament.